right. Hey, welcome to episode number 9 of the We Rock podcast. As again, you could expect, I am Tony Watson, which means absolutely zero when it comes to anything important.
And equally as unimportant, as always.
Yeah.
I'm still Austin.
Yeah. Yep.
We've made it to number 9.
We've made it to number 9. That's that we're there. You go. Exactly. Yeah. We are right on the cusp of doing something correct, right? I mean, I think it's you got to do something like 10 times, right, before you start to master it. Or is it 30?
Well,
We're gonna make it to 30.
Heck yeah, we're gonna make it to 30.
All right.
I mean, even if we're just doing this for our own personal enjoyment, we'll still record.
Well, I think at least from my end, I sound better, correct? I mean, we've made some adjustments to the sound. We're recording through a different caveat, so hopefully we fixed some of the audio issues we've had. I cannot fix the fact that I stumble over words all the time. That's just because I'm stupid. So
I was gonna say you still look the same. You just sound better.
Well, yeah. Well, sound better audio quality, not necessarily the stuff that comes out of my mouth.
You sound gooder.
So, but I mean, gooder. There you go. I mean, well, here's the deal. I mean, what we discovered is, I've got a good friend of mine, a good Polish friend of mine who's a sound guy, and I have a check 1 2. A check 1 2.
Well, I mean, if we're on the topic of like some good dad jokes, I mean, of course, one thing we've talked about, we got to be careful about the heat here in Texas, especially here in Texas. Yep. It's been hot. And if you have pets, you got to make sure you're taking care of your pets, and especially for your dogs. One of the best things for the heat is mustard. And you can get that at, any, some convenience store sell it. But of course, your grocery store will sell it because mustard is the best thing for a hot dog.
Wow.
Hey, at least it wasn't the cricket one. I'll take the horn. I'll take the sad horn. Oh.
just give it a second. Right. I do love that all these sounds that are on here are just sad sounds, right? I mean, other than the bum, you've got we got the golf clap. Yeah, thank you.
The quack and the air horn.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, we've now got tools, and this is not good. Eventually, what one of us is going to end up doing is buying one of those soundboards that we can download an infinite number of sounds and just have worthless sounds on there. Mm-hmm. We'll probably have something in there about Venn diagrams, just for the heck of it.
Gosh, I love Venn diagrams. They're so amazing. It's like circles, and they overlap. Gosh.
People getting excited about Venn diagrams. This is an issue.
Well, I mean, some of our top tier politicians get excited about them, so I would consider it to be excitable.
I was going to say something concerning top tier. I think I'm going to avoid that one.
We just didn't say how high the tier goes.
So yeah, we're here. We are, and it's the 2nd of August today, and it's still hot. News reported for us yesterday said that we were at, as of yesterday, we were 27 consecutive days over 100 degrees. Mm-hmm. We've had 31 days over 100 degrees. Yesterday we hit 106. And keep in mind, like we're gonna get. I'm gonna get a message from somebody in like Arizona. I say that, but I don't know of any monument guys in Arizona. So,
but it's a dry heat.
Yeah, it's a dry heat. It's 200, 120 degrees out here. We've got like, I don't know, 85% humidity at the moment. Mm-hmm. So it's just sweltering. I did hear a thing this morning on one of the TikTok deals or whatever for it's a Texas history one or whatever that I tend to listen to, these day trip guys. Mm-hmm. And they had talked about they said that the record temperature, the highest recorded temperature in the state of Texas was 120. However,
okay, you watched the same one I did.
Yes, you saw the same one. So the highest actual recorded temperature was in 1960, and it was 140 degrees.
At
and it
nighttime.
was actually not far from you because it was Cleburne or something like that, right?
Yeah, it wasn't terribly far from me.
Yeah. But it was something like some kind of crazy storm that came in and just sucked the moisture out of the air.
Yeah,
and
they said like a massive, like hot, dry air hit a bit of moisture in the air and basically evaporated all the moisture out of the air and caused the temperature to immediately spike. They said people thought it was the end of the world.
Yeah, it's something like corn was cooking on the stalks, which is a bit much. I don't know. I mean, it seems like you'd have to be over 100, well over 140 for corn to start cooking, right? I mean, even just boiling. What's boiling water at? Now I've got to look it up. See, this is the interest part of the
100 degrees centigrade
water temp. Boiling water. There are two conventional readings. 211 degrees.
Oh man, I was off.
So I don't know that corn was cooking on the stalk. You would have to be over that anyway for you to pop popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot. While the statement of 140 may be true, there may be some of that's just become folklore.
Oh, with stories like that, always.
Yeah. So while it's and I did enjoy Tony Scar up in Oklahoma, who's over at Willis Granite.
Oh yeah.
Did you see his? So he was talking about the glue on the Money Builders page.
Same problem we ran into.
So right, but if you really paid attention, he said that currently in Oklahoma they are living in some suburb of hell. And that was my favorite line of that entire video. So Tony, if I don't see you before or don't talk to you, that was great. I'm going to use that. I appreciate it. Suburb of hell. This is where we reside now.
But I mean, I got to give him credit for that video though. That he for those of you that didn't watch it, he made a glue ball. He takes the backer from his stencil and pours some glue on there. Let's
see. I'm just curious. I'm gonna try something. Go ahead and I'm gonna see if I can pull it up, and I'm gonna try and share the video here immediately. So maybe we can just hear the audio.
Advancing leaps and bounds here.
Yeah, we're trying new things. Hang on, we're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship. If you heard that sound, that means I've clicked over.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Go ahead. No. So go ahead and explain it while I try to find this thing.
Yeah. He was taking backer from the stencil and pouring glue on it, wiping glue on it, and you got to unmute it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was letting you finish because I was being polite. Here we go.
Oh, is there any audio?
Yeah, I'm gonna pause it right there for a second.
But taking that glue,
he's a great guy.
And
do what now?
He was taking that glue that he's putting on the backer, and he just builds it up, and you peel it off, roll it up, and make a glue ball. And then whenever you peel your stencil off, especially right now with the temperatures we've been seeing, we have a lot of glue left over on the face of the stone. So rather than trying to use some type of mineral spirits, anything like that, to try to dissolve that glue off of there, he just takes that glue ball and just starts rolling it across the face of it, and it immediately just starts peeling that glue off. Makes cleanup a lot easier. It's
pretty epic. So I know Tony, and I'm going to go ahead and say this and this is a mad credit to Tony. He's a phenomenal craftsman. Does a great job. And my number one thing I appreciate about him is that he sounds like he's from East Texas. So here it is.
I'm not catching the audio on my end.
Oh, you're not? Okay, well.
Yeah.
So it may not work, but nevertheless, if you go check it out, if you're in the Money Builders group, it is there. Let's see. I don't know if I can options. It won't. I can't see where to let me share the audio. But if you're in the Money Builders group, not the forum one, because it won't show up in there, or at least I don't think he posted it in there. But if you're in the regular Miner Builders group, go check it out. He talks about how to deal with some of this heat and stuff like that, dealing with the glue. So what is actually rather interesting in some of this, with the temperature stuff that we're battling right now, is that it's not really just it is really just Texas and Oklahoma. Now we're in for it. If you looked at the weather last night, because we've got there's another high pressure system. We're sitting in a high pressure system now, and there's another high pressure system coming in behind it. So we were
supposed to get a reprieve from this.
No, there ain't no reprieve.
No,
we've got another week or so of it, or 2 weeks at least coming. So just hold your horses. But hopefully we'll get wetter weather. I've started telling the guys to carry, of course, carry all the water, but then carry a generator and the hammer drill with a flat spade bit on it to cut their foundations because it's so hard.
Yep, we do that too.
So it's man, it's tough. That stuff's hard. So, but no, it's really seems like it's almost Texas and Oklahoma mostly, but then I know Louisiana's getting some. But then everybody else seems to be getting rain. If you look at the map, it's everywhere. But in all that, one of the things we wanted to talk about, and we talked about, is a couple weeks ago, our friends up in Barry dealt with some flooding. And I intended, you and I had talked about, we intended to get a call up there to the Barry Museum and kind of see how things are going, and the president of the Barry Association and all that. I know that I've seen on some of their posts pictures of the flooding that they're having to clean up in there and whatnot. And so it's just been, they've been dealing with a lot, with all this rain and stuff. So, fortunately, I think everybody's kind of coming out of it. The one, I think I'm going to misspell it. I hate to do it. It's Pepin granite, or Pepin, or however you say it. I'm not really sure. Pepin granite, and they're up in Barry. Man, that's probably one of the rougher stories for me listening to it, because if you're familiar, and I've never been to Barry, but I've looked at a map, right? The quarries, like Rock of Ages, is up on the hill. And a lot of the quarries are kind of up on the hill. Town's kind of down in the valley, because especially on the East Coast and those Northeast towns and stuff like that, historically they would build near rivers and streams and things like that, because it's where you would get food and water and things like that. So out here we just don't have any of that at all. So, but the folks over at Pepin, I'm sorry, I don't mean to butcher the name. Man, they dealt with their entire shed got flooded, and they've posted some pictures of it, and they've got silt just a few inches high in there inside the building. The real rough deal for them is that this was a couple of weeks after the kids bought out their dad, is my understanding. And, so you get just the financial impact of that is just tough. It's tough. But man, mad credit to those guys for it looks like, from what I can tell, it looks like they've stepped up, and everybody, rallied together as a group to show up and clean stuff up for everybody and help everybody out. So that's great news. Moving forward. In fact, here's Tyler's post. Looking at it, says, not talking about crying, just wanting to show where they're at. And man, you see these guys, he's walking through in mud boots, and just that silt is so far up. You got a lot of just debris kind of moved around from the water. The one image of their polishing machine, not underwater, but the bay that's the stones sit in are under. Stones knocked over from just everything moving. So man, if they've got it cleaned up by now, because this was the 14th, so it's been half a month, a couple weeks. If they've got it cleaned up by now, man, good on them. That was some hard work. That's a lot of work. But man, that's a tough place to be. I don't wish that on them, and wish them all the best. And if you've got berry suppliers that I would tell you right now, if you've got berry suppliers that you're sitting there going, well, we're taking so long, give them a minute. there's some stuff going on over there. They've got to, they're going to have to get their head about them, give them a chance to get caught up and get things fixed and get in the right place. So we're thinking about you guys up in Barry and all the stuff that y'all are having to deal with. I hate that for you guys.
Definitely so.
So, but how things over at your shop, other than heat? Because we talk about that seems a lot lately.
Have I told you it's hot?
I kind of get these conversations that, like, I'm sure that everybody listens. They go, "Oh, they're either going to talk about it being hot or the Southern Monument Builders Convention."
And we did talk that it was hot at the Southern Monument Builders Convention. I mean,
Man,
combine the best of both worlds. Things are going good. I mean, we're just moving along through the summer. Just waiting on fall. Yeah.
Well, as it is, fall will show up just like it does every year, October 31st.
Mm-hmm. But
even as a kid, I remember that was the first time you ever had to pull out a jacket. And it was to cover your dadgum Halloween costume.
Yeah, but here in Texas, we have false fall. Mm-hmm. You start to think, okay, we're finally at the end of summer, and no. You still get one more week of summer after that first false fall.
That was one of the discussions Emily and I had early on in our relationship, because she grew up in her dad worked for Mobil, and so they moved around quite a bit, and they lived for a while over in Northern Virginia, just outside of DC, and she was talking about, I don't know, one Christmas it being warm. It's like, why is it so, like, it's getting so hot and da-da-da-da. I'm like, no, I don't think you know. Traditionally, we would wear shorts at Christmas to Grandma's house.
Yeah, we don't get too many white Christmases.
No. That was not a big thing. Yeah, you get sweater at Christmas. You're like, all right, we'll pull this out in a month. But no, so up on the pipe, I think we want to talk about something rather interesting. Of course, if you listen to the last episode, then you know that we've kind of set up the road ahead of what we want to talk about moving forward. And ironically enough, you and I were talking about this already. This is the direction we wanted to go for this week. And I got a call Monday, and one of our friends says, "I want to hear somebody talk about commodities and making sure that monuments aren't commodities." And I said, "Well, that's rather ironic." And he says, "Why?" And I said, "We're kind of going that direction." Mm-hmm. He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, we're talking about the sale of online monuments."
Mm-hmm. That was the nudge we needed. Yep.
And so we were already going that direction, and really that's the intent, right? Is that it takes the sale of these online sold stones makes it from being a craft to being a commodity, mm-hmm. right? I mean, that's really where things are. Mm-hmm. So, but that's that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about what the issues are with those companies that are seem to have no problem selling stuff online without stepping on others' toes. Mm-hmm. Where those issues are moving, why that's a problem,
and how they disguise themselves as that they are providing a service to the families, that mm-hmm. they're only providing half of a service, and
correct.
Not great at that.
And look, I mean, I would actually say that that's the least expensive of the services.
Yeah,
right. I mean, let me back up. I would say I can do the math and I can tell you, yes, that is the least expensive of the services, because mm-hmm. my insurance is not does not bill me based on the fact that we sandblast stones. It bills me on the fact that we deliver and install stones and use heavy equipment to do so. Mm-hmm. That's where my premium comes in.
Absolutely.
That's where it's the labor side that's expensive, and you cannot get a family to understand that the expense is not in the stone, but in the labor side of things. Mm-hmm. So when we see stuff like markers sold for the joke used to be $99 markers. I think we have actually come past the $99 markers.
Yeah.
But it's not that it's much better. We're seeing them, $2.99 or $4.39 or whatever, listed out there. And, they show up to your house and you got to figure it all out. And, but that's, we talked about that a little bit last week when I talked about the guy who here purchased one online from somewhere and wanted us to go out and install it, and we said no.
Yeah, and that's the stance you've got to take, especially as a retailer, because as I've said before, if you allow yourself to do that, the only thing that you have become is a setting crew for that online monument company.
Right. So here in some of the things to keep in mind, there are a number of these companies that exist, right? And let's back up real quick and talk about who we're actually talking about. And I'm not going to name names. That's not what we're after. But we want to specify the difference, right? When we're talking about online sold monuments, and I'm gonna call this name out because this is not who I'm referring to, right? We are not talking about John Scott and High Cross.
No. Because
you and I had already made this comment privately. John Scott is what we call bespoke.
Definitely
right?
so.
Which, if you've got to look it up, he's high craft. Everything is very customized. It is designed to you. He is... and I'm not going to say that he's the only one that can do Celtic crosses, but daggum if he isn't currently the best in the country at doing Celtic crosses.
Oh, yeah.
And knotting. And one of the very few people that are sandblasting and not, we joke about him not using litho because it's fun to pick on him, but let's be real. Those stones, we can joke because we use litho and it's easy and da-da-da, but the stones he doesn't have a touch of paint on it, and it will look that way in 200 years.
Yep.
What he's doing is very good. So that is not what we're talking about. People go to him because he's very good at what he does. He's on a different level than 99% of retailers.
Oh yeah.
So,
and his Celtic cross business is a whole. It's a separate entity.
Correct. But here's the other aspect to his. John does not sell a cross to a family and ship it to their door.
No, he sees it through.
He sees it all the way through. So he's contacted companies in that area that he's friends with or knows or has a good reputation, and contracts with them to do the install. He's contracted with me to do installs in my area. So look, he's very good at what he does. So that is, we want to preface, that is not who we're talking about. There was another company that I talked to, and they do they have a specialty type of thing that they do on for their stuff, where they sell they don't sell SERP tops, right? So they are not selling that standard SERP top design with a panel, family name panel, and then you've got the two given individual panels, and then we're going to stick some bonded rings in the middle and some, I don't know, maybe let's be unique and put some roses in the corner or something, right? So they don't do that. What they're doing is this particular company is selling their own custom designs, and they've got a unique flair to what some of these are, and they'll sell those around the country, but they're still, again, reaching out to somebody else and having them put in the they're having them take care of every step, meaning they're taking care of the aspect of doing the installation. So that's a huge difference.
Oh yeah. And we're also not talking about retailers like us because some of us do have an e-commerce site set up to where we can sell headstones online to families.
Sure.
But if you look at like the ones that we're talking about, they advertise that they are only selling in a certain area. They're not shipping nationwide. They're just doing that as a service to the area that they do service. That because there's some people that them coming to your location is not going to happen, just whether it be for physical reasons, emotional, whatever.
Right.
That's just a way for them to better serve their area.
Well, and I've said before that, for us, we've got families that, live here and are from other areas. There was one we set up. I had sold to a family that lived here, and the monument needed to go to Superior, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but I'm not anywhere near Superior, Wisconsin. So I designed it up. And it was it's still probably one of my favorite pieces we've done. But it was a custom piece. I sent it to, I called up to Murphy Granite, which is Don Calhoun, and asked Don if he would take care of it for me. And he did. It was an easy process. He installed it. I asked him how he wanted to handle it. Do you want me to, the process was, do you want me to do the sandblast and you take care of, you just install it and I send it to you. Do you want to manufacture the whole thing for me and then charge me for it? Or do you want, I'll do the design and send it to you. You sell it to the family and then cut me a commission check. You pick. What do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the back and forth on that. And he said, no, just take care of everything. And, he may feel different depending upon what other things are and whatnot, but we had already done most of the legwork anyway at that point. And, but he was very gracious and took care of us. That's a whole different animal than what we're talking about, because the ones we're sitting here talking about now are the guys who are, buy this marker or buy this SERP top, and it's the same exact thing that's in every one of anybody else can do without a problem. And they're saying, well, we're better than everybody else, or nobody else can do it in your area. And then it shows up to their door, and then the family can't do anything with it. Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, even in my cemeteries, I'm still fairly rural. You're still, I know you've got a couple of perpetual care cemeteries in your area, but you get outside of 5 miles, I'm sure that everything is called Grandma Minerva, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so you've got to get it marked. And even still, some of those cemeteries are requiring us to have $1 million general liability go in there. Because they're trying to cover their rear end.
But I guess, the main thing that we're trying to highlight with, some of these online or monument, I even cringe calling them a monument company. But just some.
I wouldn't call them a monument manufacturer either, though.
No, heck no. I mean, just the deceptive practices that exist out there that, they let a family, or they lead a family to believe that this is a seamless process. It'll be delivered to you. You can call one of your area monument companies. They'll be more than happy to set it and, leave us a 5-star review.
Yeah. So we keep hearing this. Oh, they'll be happy to set it. Nobody's happy to set it. No, that's not a thing. And then I think I've seen one where somebody said, it's usually just a couple $100. Well, I know that some of the cemetery setting fees are just a couple $100, but it seems as though more late that they are more, that it is a per square inch fee to set it, and you're still, it can end up being $1,000
easily
if I'm paying the cemetery to do it. But why is it that that's the same sentiment that said whenever it goes to this rural cemetery? Oh yeah, just reach out to any Joe Blow and they'll go set it for $100, and it's $350 an hour to run my truck. That's what it is.
Your truck doesn't run for free up and down the road.
Well, not if Exxon has anything to do with it. I've got that. I've got to pay that Biden gas tax on it too. So every time I put a gallon of diesel in it, I think 50% of that dollar goes to the federal government for taxes. Right. So, yeah, I got to pay my fair share as well. But it's just a nightmare to sit there and go, oh yeah, they'll take care of it, man. I don't know about you, but compared to 2019, we're doing at least 3 times the amount of work that we were doing back then. I do not have time, and this sounds really bad if you're not in the business, but I do not have time to set the monuments that come in that weren't purchased through me. No, I don't.
Nor do you want to assume the liability.
I definitely don't want to assume the liability,
because that is a real concern, if not one of the main concerns, outside of just you lost out on the opportunity of a sale. That if there is anything wrong with that, even though you've documented what you can,
but I don't even think that's that's our issue on our side, right? So what we're talking about now is the issues that we have with them. On the personal side or on the business side of this, we're not even talking about how this works whenever we're looking at what it is for the family. I mean, just how many times do you see one come in and it's black granite and it's barely cut it's barely cut into the polish. They've put a double outline panel on it for some reason, but still didn't frost the panel. What was the purpose of the panel?
And they'll advertise that as a premium finish,
right? And then it'll be something like everything's still modified Roman. It's a custom monument, right? But it's still modified Roman letters. And look, I know I'm for all y'all out there, I'm anti-modified Roman. If you haven't known, but it's just because I'm tired of looking at it and. I'm sure there's some people go, oh, I can't do it. Like, they teach their own. If that's the font you want to use, fine. That's not the hill I'm trying to die on today. But either way, don't call it a premium when it looks like everything else. And just, yes, you are, when the family looks at that price, you're, 30% less on the price of that stone, but you're not accounting for what I've got to put into it, because you and I both know, Austin, that the price of a monument is not really built upon the cost of the material. Correct. It's built upon the cost of the labor to get the whole thing done into the cemetery and installed.
And just from the aspect of the families, they're being done a disservice if they're purchasing from one of these, because if they come to us, like you, me, whoever, whenever they purchase that monument, they know that the next time they see it, it is standing in the cemetery. That there is no other point in that process that they have to worry about initiating another step in that process. It is taken care of from beginning to end.
Correct. And you're looking at, the difference of being able to say, look at it and know that it's going to be there, showing a company that's got a track record of getting it out there. And I get it. Look, I mean, we're kind of looking at it through rose-colored glasses on our end too, going, well, we know that we're going to get it finished. We know that we're going to get it out in the cemetery. And a lot of these companies are not getting stuff out, right? Or not us. That's not even fair. It's not a lot of companies. There's a handful of companies across the country that are not getting materials out, right? There's a handful of companies across the country that are doing shoddy work, right? That are traditional retailers. Is that fair?
Yes.
I mean, it may be more than a handful. Obviously, there's more than 5, but in the grand scheme of things, I think everybody tends to want to do a good job and tries to do a good job. Now we're going to bicker and argue over little things like how wide a V line should be, or how deep you should blow, or what a good rose looks like, or something to that effect, and that's fine. But I don't know that any retailer worth their salt is going to just V-line, and not even V-line, frost out the outlines and not frost a panel when they've got a panel on it.
Exactly.
And then, but even if they do, they're not calling it premium.
No.
And they're not selling it for 60% of the value that a traditional retailer would do and say, oh, we've got you. We've got you covered. I mean, with us, I've got to go check with every one of these cemeteries what the rules and regulations are. What can I put in there? And not just, grandma's in a flat section. It's got to be flat, or grandma's in an upright section, and then it turns out it's a flat section, right? And you've sold them something that they can't have. We had one year. Oh, it's probably 6-7 years ago. Called us up, wanted us to do an install for a family, and it is a big one. His huge job, and the stone was 10 foot tall and a big bunch of columns and everything. And I said, no, we're not going to touch it. Don't even bother shipping it to me. And this company was notorious for it showing up on your doorstep and you having to take care of it. And I said, no, we're not going to touch it. And turns out, I don't know what they ended up doing, but I had already known when I saw it, it didn't fit the restrictions of the cemetery. Like they sold it. Ouch. I had seen the signature on the paperwork, and the height restriction in that particular cemetery was 4 foot.
Gonna have to bury a bit of it.
Yeah. But they didn't care. It was about getting the dollar first. And being the first one to it. And I don't know. Maybe I'm different. I have no problem with a family walking out the door and looking around, because I know what I'm doing is different. And that doesn't mean, me, I don't badmouth, and that's not because we're recording, but correct me if I'm wrong. Do I badmouth the guys down the road?
No.
I don't. I like them.
Nope.
They're good people. Yep. And they do good work. We're just different. We do things a different way. And they wouldn't do that stuff. They check their even for us here in Texas, there's one company that's fairly large that most everybody has as a competitor, and they still check all their, and they service every cemetery in the state of Texas. They still check all the restrictions. They make sure that the family can actually have what they're selling them. They do a good job.
Yep, they do good work. And they're good people too.
They are. And when we throw a fit about them, it's because we lost a sale to them. It's just what it is.
Right.
But it's like you threw a fit yesterday because I stole a sale from you.
Oh, we gave you the sale.
Oh, yeah. For those of y'all don't know, we both got some random phone call yesterday, and a lady calls here and needing a stone to go to the city of Austin, and asked if we knew somebody or whatever, and I did. We do, but she said, "Well, the first company I called was out of Wichita Falls," and we were talking to each other Austin at the time. We were literally on the phone talking, and I hear Janine in the background talking about it, and I said, "What? Wichita?" I said, "Hold on, did she call Austin?" And so Austin goes, asked Wes about it, and Wes goes, "Yeah, we had some lady from such and such state call about a monument to go to the city of Austin." And I said, "Ha, we're getting it. We stole it from you."
Well, we did say we recommend Watson sign.
Oh, sure. That's what you did. Yeah,
we did. We sent it down that way.
So, but no, I think the biggest thing is the quality they're putting out for the families, and how are they actually taking care of those families? Because I don't know that there's any real desire to take care of them. No, maybe not. Maybe that is a bold statement.
It may be. I mean, sure, there's probably good people that work for these online retailers, but again, just like he was talking about that large one that obviously is not going to fit the restrictions of what that cemetery already has stated.
Right.
They put that responsibility on the family. And
who knows nothing about how to read a restriction or what it, and I'm not saying because families are stupid. It's because we all write stuff in some weird, stupid lingo, that the person off the street does not know what a 2-6- X by 06 by pick your number, DRP plus PFT, 2. Yeah. They have no idea what any of these codes are.
No.
But we've been doing it for so long. We know we know exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Heck, when I have conversations with my wife, it's funny because Emily's an engineer in the drill pipe industry, and so she'll talk. And I've now gotten her lingo down, but used to she would go, "Well, yeah, we were dealing with this one that's got a da 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 ID and da da." And so I go, I said, yeah, he had. We sold a 4x6x2 on a 5.6 base with a 2-inch polished margin, and I just started listing lingo. And it had convex curves, and you do it fast, right? You got to get it out real fast. She goes, okay, I got it. I'm gonna get in trouble for this later. That's not what I said. I'm embellishing a little bit, Emily, because it's funny, but it's close to true.
Yes. Yeah, but I'm currently, I guess you could say, in competition right now with an online monument retailer that I had a family reach out to me, and they're wanting us to do a headstone that's going to go like an hour and a half away from where I'm at right now, and they said, we want this color. And of course, they went on the online company site, they did a rendering, and of course, the company itself is not producing that rendering for the family. They're putting it on the family to produce their own rendering. And
right,
they make them believe that they are designing something custom. But the color, they said, we want this exact color. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I don't know what color that is. So I even sent you a picture. Said, what color is it? And you said, I don't know. I sent it to, my supplier. Still no. I mean, they had some suggestions, but still nothing quite matches up. But then whenever you and I were speaking yesterday, looking at it, it's zoomed in and the resolution is low. It's some color, but they're asking for that exact color. And I'm telling them, what they're looking at is not a good representation of any color. and then the family's telling me on the other end, well, we emailed that online company and they said that's what the color looks like. Well, I mean, I'd tell them that too if I was just wanting their money.
You know what though? If and this is probably hindsight, I don't know if you responded to them. I think if I heard that from the family, I'd probably go, hey, you know what you might do is you might consider emailing them and asking them to send you an actual picture of the stone, not a rendering. An actual picture of that color of stone.
Might be a lot of Chinese writing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what you're after. I mean, can they prove the color? Mm-hmm. One, right? Meaning, if that's what they're saying the color looks like, they should be able to send not necessarily a physical sample to them, but send them a picture of a physical color of sample, or send them a picture of a blank, the blank stone that they're going to sell them. Right? I mean, if they've got it there, they should be able to sell it or show it. This isn't like you're, asking anything unprecedented.
Right. And so if the public would do just a little bit of digging into looking at these online retailers, they would understand real quickly that they are just a website.
Yep.
Because there's one of them, of course, I'm not going to name the name, but whenever you do look them up, their address goes to a house in a cul-de-sac in New Jersey.
And we talked about one and I think this company's now gone or defunct, but there was one where the address went to a beach house in Corpus.
Well, there was another one, and this was last week whenever you and I were going over some of this, that I sent you the picture it showed of their manufacturing place. And just from kind of the land you could see around it and the trees, it looks like something, around somewhere in Vermont. But whenever you look up their real address goes to like some little strip mall in Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's what they're showing is like they're showing this massive manufacturing facility that looks like it's nowhere near Scottsdale. I don't know. It was Scottsdale. I'm just making it. I think it could have been Tempe or pick one.
Right.
I don't know Arizona. I've never been there. But the point being the same. They don't have rolling green hills in Arizona. Not that I've seen.
Yeah, I've driven clear through the state of Arizona, and I must have been in the wrong part.
I mean, from my perspective, it goes from about, I don't know, Brownwood to the California border. You don't see green rolling hills.
No.
Unless you go a
you see
little
some
further
hills
north, maybe about a little further north, you'll find them.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's, I mean, a lot of the issues with this is stuff like what they're saying they can do, and what they're proposing that they can create for you, and how they're going to say they're going to get stuff to you when and what they're going to do. Stuff like when you go to their sites and they talk about finding installation, statements like, a typical independent installer in your area will take care of it. Well, you got a list of them for them?
I guess we're atypical.
Okay. Well, maybe, but I guess most of us are atypical then, because I haven't talked to anybody that wants to do it.
No.
And it's getting fewer and fewer.
Mm-hmm.
You go to some of these others and you start reading about what they're going to do and what the process is. I mean, it's so vague, but the customer doesn't know.
Mm-mm. No, and of course, built into their site, they have all the to-dos and, FAQs and stuff like that. And, trying to put their potential consumer at ease. I mean, like this one right here has got the Headstone Buying Guide. It's got 6 points to it. And of course it says, never buy a monument without comparing at least one seller in the above category, not even ours. And a little bit on, and it said, the only way to make sure of the facts is to see it in person. Is it kind of like,
I can't see your stuff in person.
Is it kind of like we have to pass it to find out what's in it? Is it that?
I've heard that before somewhere. Where did I hear that once before?
Right.
But when they're going to, a lot of these places, they're going to ship it. And look, I will say that this likely stems from the idea behind these companies was, we're going to sell them. We're going to ship them to the perpetual care cemeteries. They're going to pay the setting fees. The cemetery is going to install it. And it would be it's no different than them buying a casket for, for their loved one online.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand some of that, but that works in, I don't know, Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
DFW, City of Austin, El Paso. I don't know. I mean, big cities, right? Mm-hmm. But they're not just doing it to the big cities. And I don't like it there either, but you're sending it to, you're sending it to Iola. Mm-hmm. You know where Iola is? I do. But that's the point, right? Is that they don't know where it is. One of them, we had the one in particular I was talking about before, went to a town called Normandy. Okay. It was Wealthy Cemetery in Normandy. And what's in Normandy? The intersection there at OSR and I think it's 79 is nothing but tractors. You can go buy whatever tractor you want, from Kubota to New Holland.
Okay.
There's not a Deere tractor over there, but nevertheless, there's a bunch of different tractor sales places because it's all farm community out that way.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know where Normandy is, other than they typed it into Google Maps.
Right.
So they don't know that I've got to call. I'm making up names here. Steven
Mm-hmm. Is it with a V or a PH?
VPH. Stephen. So, but they don't know that I've got to call them to go get things unlocked.
Right.
You know, there was one the other day. We went into a cemetery, and the guy calls us back and says, "Hey, I never got around to marking that plot and unlocking the gate. How did y'all get in?" And ironically, the plot was marked, and there was a walk gate that was unlocked. And so we just went through the walk gate. We figured they didn't want us to take the equipment in. And it was just a marker, so it wasn't a big deal. And so he called us about it and said, "Oh, okay, well, no, that we had some issues with the locks, and we're having to change the locks, and I'll call you once we have new combination codes on there. We'll send you the combination." You know, these online companies don't have these combination codes.
No.
You know?
No, and going back to, I guess what started this whole conversation, is of, headstones being treated or memorials being treated as a commodity now. And here's their point number 3, and this kind of highlights this point. It says, "Remember, you are purchasing a monument because of love, not because it is the cheapest. Don't cut corners when it comes to memorials. Make it unique, distinct, and above all, get it designed to reflect the personality. There are a lot of options available that would help you design a tribute that is as unique as your loved one. So pick from our 12.
The statement. The statement's good.
It's good. However, it's good. But now please pick from our 12 pre-prepared designs."
Right. I mean, it's good, but it's not in practice. And
their pre-prepared designs still are all 3-panel designs. And it's, do you want praying hands over here or maybe here?
Well, wait. You got to turn those praying hands about 90 degrees. There we go. The washing hands. I know I get picky whenever I look at designs because it's just who I am. Right. But one of those we looked at and it had ivy on it. And one of those ivy leaves are upside down. That's not how the ivy leaves. They literally took the design and flipped it upside down and made it attach, and they didn't adjust any of the leaves. And every one of these images, I've got somewhere on my computer. They are standard designs that have been in Gerber for years that were transposed to go into whatever software they're designing in.
Right.
So.
What was that other one?
None of this is all that exciting or new, and to sit there and look, maybe they have people on staff that'll do custom pieces. I don't know, because I'm not sitting there having conversations with them to go, "Hey, will you design a monument?" Because I'm not shopping them. But nevertheless, it's still showing up at your doorstep.
And a lot of these places do not even have their own means of manufacturing. They are just they've just set up an e-commerce site. And they're ordering it direct from China.
I mean, so here's I found the one that's these are smaller than a 2x1, because I don't want to specify the size on this, because we'll call it's 75% of the size of a 2x1. And I do that on purpose because I don't want to, I feel like if I call out the actual size, it's going to let it know who it is.
Right.
But it's they're 197 for a smaller than a 2x1. Interesting thing about this, right? Start functioning through the process of what it is. If you're buying a marker, and let's talk about domestic. These are probably not domestic. These are probably imports. But if you're buying a domestic marker, you're not saving any money buying 3-inch slabs versus 4-inch slabs.
No, because
the labor's the same. You're not saving any money buying a smaller marker. I mean, you are, but you're not. You're still putting in the same amount of labor. You're saving a few dollars on across the grand scheme of things. So let's break down the price of it, right? We talked about this earlier. You and I did in private. So because I looked up the one I looked up before was, what did we say? It was like 450, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is what we were looking at before, and just because I'm not going to call it the actual number. The one we were looking at before was about 450. One of my vendors has 2x1 markers in black at 101. Okay. Mm-hmm. So $101. And then if you account for $5 in stencil material. Okay. Yes. So now you're at 106. Let's say it takes one of your designers with this, as cookie cutter as they are, takes them 15 minutes to put it together. I'm going to go ahead and just assume for 30. I'm going to calculate for 30 minutes because it makes the math easier. We're going to assume you pay them $20 an hour. Okay. So I'm going to add $10 to that price. So we're at 116. And then you go to, you're going to have somebody one of your guys sandblast it. What do you want to suggest from when your blast booth gets the order, sticks the stencil, plucks the stencil, blasts it, pulls the stencil, cleans it, and moves it over to the area to get it ready for install? What do you think? An hour?
Bare minimum hour.
Now, I'll keep in mind, I do understand that they're going to do 3 or 4 at the same time.
Yes.
Right? But that one individual stone still takes an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The fact that you can do 4 of them at one time is your benefit, and you're going to make that money. So so we're going to add $20. We're going to say that guy makes $20 an hour. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. You still got sand. You've got overhead. And that's your electricity, your sand, your blast booth, your wear and tear on your compressor and pot. Because I know that we're going through supplies on our pot fairly regularly right this second. And so you look at some of that stuff and you go, okay, let's add $50 overhead. Fair. Maybe. We'll call it 40.
Yeah.
Plus $40.
Give them the benefit.
Right now I'm at $176. Mm-hmm. Okay. I would say that at $176. Now that was a black stone. Mm-hmm. But if I looked up a smaller stone that's in gray, even as an import, what do you think? It's $50? Probably. It's got to land to you. Mm-hmm. It's got to land to you. I didn't account for shipping in this. Mm-hmm. Right? So $50 landed?
Easily.
Okay, so I'm going to subtract, just for grins, I'm going to subtract $50. So we're at $126. If I were to do this smaller stone that is in gray granite or a gray match, okay, $126 versus $197. So minus $197, $71. So they're going to make $71 off of it and then ship it to you. And then the family's going to go, well, we need it installed. Mm-hmm. And you're going to go, well, okay, well, we'll install it, but it's going to be $800. They're going to flip out. Mm-hmm. I didn't pay that much for the rock.
Then you're the bad guy.
You're the bad guy. You're ripping them off. Mm-hmm. But it's $350 an hour for me to run that truck.
Even if you just told them $500, still you're the bad guy.
You're ripping them off.
If you told them anything above what they paid for it, you're still the bad guy. Mm-hmm.
But some of the black markers we saw listed on there that were on there, I know that I'm considerably higher on and to several times higher, but I sold one not that long ago. But I'm going to go pick it up. We're going to go install it. All of it. We're going to we're taking care of everything, sandblast everything. Mm-hmm. Because I can. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And this is when it becomes a commodity when you put a set price on it and you're doing trash work.
Yes.
And I'm going to call it trash work because everything is barely blown in. It's the same thing that's used over and over and over and over. I'm not calling it trash work because the family wanted a double outline panel with names in it.
Right. I'm
really talking about execution.
Yeah. Quality of work.
Correct. and the family, when they have only seen what you're showing them, and it's executed poorly, and then they come, it's hard for, like, we can see it because we see it every day, and we can go, okay, well, this isn't deep enough, this isn't, and we know why, and we can explain it. Once we explain it, it's a different animal. But they're looking at a price and they're going, well, I don't understand why you're so much higher. Okay, well, that's fine. But that's a commodity. This is not a commodity business because your loved one was not a commodity. Now, your loved one's a commodity to the government, but they're not a commodity to you.
Right.
Because I would bet just about everything I'd have. Most every customer that walks in your door would rather have that loved one back than buy a monument.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's not the way you're operating your business and operating what you're supplying for that family, you're doing it wrong.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
But no, I think that's really kind of my soapbox on this. I really feel like, I would, I'm not going to try and tell these companies they need to get out of business. I don't think that's even the right way to go about it.
No, but the right way to go about it is whenever you are, interacting with a family, and even if it's somebody that has just called you saying like, hey, I priced it on this website, you need to highlight the reasons. One, just be upfront and honest with them. I'm going to take longer than they are, and I'm going to be more expensive than they are. But this is why. And don't necessarily just be slamming these online companies, because nobody likes negativity. You just need to convey to your customer what it is that makes you better.
Well, and I will say, so I want to make a statement to these online companies. If they're not going to listen because they don't care.
That's probably our entire listener base.
Right. So what I will say to them is, I'm not saying, hey, these companies need to go out of business. What I'm saying is that I would like to see practices change. I would like to see them be a more reasonable price anyway, but take pride in what you do, not in the quantity that you put out.
Right.
Take pride in the process and take pride in what you're creating, and not in the dollars in your bank account or the volume in which you've sold.
Yeah. Even if it is that you're just turning out a 2x1 with a simple frosted panel and just lettered, either you make sure you're blowing the lettering in deep enough. If you're using litho, fine. If you're not, fine. But whatever you put out there, make sure that generations to come, that marker's still going to be out there. It's still going to be legible. Don't take the corner cutting route. Yes.
And explain these steps to your customers. But even better, instead of shipping it to their homes, in those cemeteries where it's not a perpetual care cemetery that you're trying to say, just maybe reach out to the local monument shop first, and see if they would be willing to work with you. And it's going to take some time because there's some bad blood there. We've burnt, a lot of bridges have been burned because a lot of toes have been stepped on. It's going to take some time, and you're going to have to deal with it. But find out what the restrictions are before you sell it.
Oh yeah,
Reach out to the family. Reach out to the local shop first, and see if maybe they can assist you. Heck, you may be able to sell it through them at their price and make a commission check.
Right.
I mean, there may be another avenue in which everybody can be happy about it.
But so name another industry in which it's an accepted practice, to go about it the way that they go about it. Because can I go to a local bakery here in town and bring my own flour and eggs and milk and say, here, make me a cake?
Well, I did that at Ruth's Chris not that long ago, right? I mean, I went to Walmart and bought a steak and took it in there. Yeah, I mean, that worked out really well, didn't it? It's dumb.
No.
This isn't the same thing as going to the bowling alley and taking your own ball. It's not. We're talking apples and oranges here when it comes to that. We're talking about, going into the deli and bringing your own sandwich, right? I mean, no, you don't. Or Domino's, you do a really good job, but I really wish you'd use this pepperoni that I brought in.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's not how this works.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's not going to get any better. Because we live in an Amazon society. Everybody expects whenever they click the order button, 2 to 3 days, I've got it. And they want it faster and cheaper.
Yep.
And we're not fast and cheap.
Mm-mm.
I mean, personally, maybe, but.
That has nothing to do with our businesses, though.
No, not at all.
Thought it was fast and loose. That's a different thing. Any which way but loose. Oh, well, no. What else you got? I mean, what's coming up in the future for you?
It's still going to be hot.
Still going to be hot.
Still going to be hot. Yeah.
I did send you some praise for your team this week because y'all had a monster get before the end of the trade deadline.
We did picked up Scherzer.
Picked up Scherzer, and then of course we got JV back.
No, y'all got Cade Upton back.
Yeah, we got Cade Upton back with the benefit of some old guy who can throw a ball.
Right.
But I saw this thing about Scherzer and JV. They both came from the Mets, and so now that they're good friends, and then now they're going to throw against each other. So that's funny. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting as we move forward. But
I read a deal that it said it's with the Mets sending Scherzer back to the Astros. I mean, Scherzer to the Rangers and then Verlander back to the Astros. That it's the equivalent of the Mets being the Joker in the Dark Knight, and he snaps the pull stick in half and throws it out there and makes two people fight it out.
Yeah.
Same thing.
But the Mets have already come out and said, well, we're looking to 24 and 25, hopefully do something in 24.
Oh, they've been
you gave up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really, you're trying to keep your fan base happy by saying 24. You're having a rebuild.
That's just like Cowboys fans every year. They say, this is our year.
Yeah, I bet it is. So no, I'm glad to have JV back. I don't know. He still chokes in postseason quite a bit. Emily tried to correct me on that yesterday, and I said, no, I think it was my mom tried to correct me on that. I said, nah. I think he's only won the one postseason game, and that was last year in Game 5. Mm-hmm. And that was the only one time he'd actually pulled one off. But I think it's good to have him back because I think if we can pull off one more, it's going to be hard for him to go into the Hall of Fame wearing a Tigers hat.
Yeah,
I think you win 3 rings with the Astros. And because he is going to Hall of Fame, Cy Young guy. What? If you win 3 rings, yeah. What do you mean no?
I mean
3. Can you not count?
Well, no, I can count, but I mean, he's only going to go. He's only going to go with 2, though.
No. No, he's going to get that 3rd this year. So
I mean, is he being traded back to the Rangers? I mean,
no, because the Rangers aren't going to do anything. We are after the All-Star hump. We are in Astros territory because they're. Hey, I don't care. Pull out your trash can. That's fine. We're still not the Yankees.
True.
But no, I think that'd be great if he can pull off and get another ring. I think he goes into the Hall of Fame as an Astro. And truthfully, he may go into the Hall of Fame as an Astro anyway with 2 rings.
I think
you're hard pressed to say otherwise. Mm-hmm. So, you go. Oh yeah, he played for the Tigers. He played in Detroit. Oh yeah, what did he do? He won two World Series with the Astros.
Well, it's just kind of like Nolan Ryan. I mean, he played for 4 teams, and unfortunately, Ryan never won a Cy Young. He did win 1 World Series with the Mets. He was part of the Miracle Mets.
Yeah,
but outside of that, of course, no Cy Young or anything, but he finished his career with the Rangers and went into the Hall as a Ranger.
Yeah. He has 2 rings, though.
Yeah.
He didn't have 1 ring. He has 2 rings.
Oh, yeah.
He was an Astros owner.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I knew exactly where you're going with that.
The kid from Alvin will always be an Astro. Always. What it is.
Well, currently the farm team that he owns, the stadium, whose AAA team is that? The Round Rock Express. What's
your point?
They're the AAA team for the Rangers. That's right.
Yeah, but you know what? We want to get in AAA. That's a different animal, because I will talk about the Corpus Christi Hooks and how that is the only stadium in the world in which you can go into it, order a Whataburger sandwich, and get a Shiner Bock at the same time. It's what it is.
That's heaven.
I know. You can't get any better than that.
No.
And that's an Astros team.
It is. It is.
That is a fun a fun team to go watch. They put on a really good show there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but on that note, football season will come up. I'm sure we'll talk football whenever that comes around too. So, if you're tuning in and going, I'm tired of hearing about the baseball, something else will come up as well.
I thought you meant baseball off season.
Do what?
I thought you meant baseball off season was coming up.
Well, I mean, that's going to come up too, but when I talk football, I'm not talking pro. I could care less. Other than, I guess Wes is going to talk. Keep in mind, if y'all are out there listening and you're wanting to, don't forget Wes has got the fantasy stuff that he's getting set up. Send an email in or let us know. We
should have something. I think next week up on.
Yeah,
that.
Remember, we're talking fantasy football. We're not talking about the adult store that's down the road.
And if we can get enough interest cobbled together, we'll do a fantasy WNBA. If you win, you lose.
We may have more interest in fantasy Olympics. Who's going to win at curling?
I love curling.
And
I would actually like to go where the curling stones are made at.
Can I have one? I just want to, but I want to buy one directly from there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but look, I'm also I have this issue. We're going to, when we go to lead next month, I'm coming, everybody's going over there to I'm sure some people are going to come back with other things or Italy stuff, whatever. I've literally planned on coming back with tools since we're going to Carrara.
Ooh.
I'm coming back with tools. It's going to happen. I've got a wad of cash that I've been saving for a while, and that's the whole purpose of that wad of cash.
You're going to get over there and they won't accept it. Oh no, no, euros only.
Can I fly with a bottle of bourbon? If I check it,
you can check it. Yeah.
If I put that in my check bag, I bet I can trade that for tools. So, all right. On that note, we'll catch you on the flip side. Have a good one. Thanks for listening, guys. Come back and listen again, maybe.
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 Later.